The medical bays on every ship in Battle Group Titan were filled with wounded. Human doctors worked alongside Velthari medics who had come up from the surface. Yuri, the same medic who had treated Daewon 15 years ago, moved through the Indomitable's medical bay, her crystalline hands glowing softly as she helped tend to the injured. She stopped beside a young Marine with severe burns. The human doctors had done what they could, but he was in pain. Yuri placed her hands on his chest. Her body glowed brighter and the Marine's face relaxed as the pain eased. "What did you do?" a human doctor asked. "Our bodies produce a natural painkiller," Yuri explained. "We can share it with others. It is little enough to give after what you have done for us." Throughout the fleet, similar scenes played out. Velthari engineers helped repair damaged systems. Velthari workers brought food and supplies to the exhausted human crews. They had so little, but they gave everything they could. On Earth, the emergency council session had been going for 12 hours. President Yunji had listened to arguments from every side. Some representatives demanded Daewon be arrested immediately. Others praised his courage. The debate seemed endless. Then something unexpected happened. Messages began arriving from other alien species. 57 different civilizations sent communications to Earth. Word of the Battle of New Haven had spread across the galaxy faster than anyone thought possible. The messages all said similar things. Humanity had done something remarkable. They had crossed the galaxy to save people they barely knew, at tremendous cost simply because it was the right thing to do. No other species had ever done such a thing. A representative from the Keldon Assembly sent a particularly moving message. "We have known humanity for only a few years. We thought you were just another aggressive species, expanding and conquering. But today you showed us something different. You showed us that humans value loyalty and honor above all else. You showed us that humans remember their debts. This changes everything." President Yunji read the messages carefully. She was a practical politician who understood how power worked. But she was also a grandmother who remembered stories about honor and sacrifice. She had served in the fleet herself 40 years ago. She stood before the council. "We have debated for hours about regulations and procedures. But I think we are missing something important. Admiral Daewon did violate regulations. That is not in question. But in doing so, he showed the entire galaxy what humanity stands for." She pulled up images from New Haven, the damaged colony, the Velthari rebuilding, human and Velthari working side by side. 57 alien species are watching us right now. They are waiting to see what we do. If we punish Daewon, we send a message that humanity values rules more than honor, that we would rather follow procedures than save lives. Is that the message we want to send? The council was silent. Representative Bora stood. "I move that we issue a full pardon for Admiral Daewon and all personnel involved in the New Haven operation. Furthermore, I move that we establish the Velthari protocols, allowing fleet commanders to respond to distress calls from intelligent species without prior authorization." The vote was close, but it passed. President Yunji signed the order immediately. She sent it through official channels, but she also sent a personal message to Daewon. "Admiral, you did what you thought was right, and you were correct. Come home when you are ready. Earth is proud of you." On the Indomitable, Daewon received the message. He sat in his ready room and read it 3 times. Jiwon stood beside him, also reading. "We are pardoned," Jiwon said. "All of us." "The council came through," Daewon said quietly. "I did not expect that. The galaxy is watching, sir. The council had to make a choice about what humanity stands for. They chose well." 2 days after the battle, Daewon took a shuttle down to New Haven's surface. Jiwon, Minho, Nari, Woojin, and Kyungsu came with him. They wanted to see what they had fought for. The colony was damaged but not destroyed. Crystalline buildings were being repaired. Fields were being replanted. Velthari children played in the streets, their bodies glowing with happy colors. Hana met them at the landing pad. She looked older than Daewon remembered, her crystalline plates marked with age and battle damage, but her eyes still glowed with that same kindness. "Daewon," she said, and embraced him carefully with her upper limbs. "My friend, you came back to us." "I promised I would answer if you called," Daewon said. Taemin was there too, older but still with that eager energy. He embraced each of the humans in turn. "I kept your beacon safe for 15 years, he said to Daewon. "I hoped I would never need to use it. But when the Kryn came, I remembered your words. You said humans remember their debts. We do. Daewon said simply. Hana led them through the colony. Everywhere they walked, Velthari stopped to look at them. Some touched the humans gently, as if to make sure they were real. Children followed behind, clicking questions in their own language. They came to a partially destroyed building. Velthari workers were already rebuilding it, but they had left one wall standing. On that wall, someone had created a mural. It showed a small human ship floating in space, alone and dying. It showed Velthari ships stopping to help. Then it showed the Battle of New Haven, with human ships fighting the Kryn. The final image showed humans and Velthari standing together. Beneath the mural, words were written in both English and Velthari script. They saved one. An Armada answered, "May all species know such friendship." Daewon stared at the mural. Woojin wiped his eyes. Even Nari, who never showed emotion, looked moved. "This will be our most important building," Hana explained. "We will teach our children about this day, about humans who crossed the galaxy to save us, about friendship that costs everything and gives everything." "We lost 4,000 people," Daewon said quietly. "I need you to understand that. 4,000 humans died in that battle." Hana's body glowed with deep sorrow. "We know, we honor them. Every Velthari on New Haven knows their sacrifice. We will never forget." Taman led them to another site. A memorial was being built, a tall crystalline structure that would hold the names of every human who died at New Haven. The Velthari were carving each name by hand, carefully and respectfully. "We will finish this within the month," Taman said. "And every year, on the anniversary of the battle, we will gather here. We will speak their names. We will remember." Over the next week, more ships arrived at New Haven. Not warships this time, but cargo vessels. Earth was sending supplies, food, medicine, building materials. Other alien species sent aid too, inspired by humanity's example. The Keldan sent engineers. The Praxian Collective sent food synthesizers. The Taurian Republic sent medical equipment. 57 species all contributing because they wanted to be part of what was happening at New Haven. A formal ceremony was planned for 2 months later. President Yunji herself would attend, but first Daewon had personal business to attend to. He gathered his senior officers and the Velthari leadership. "We need to discuss what comes next. The Kryn will return. They do not forget defeats. New Haven needs permanent protection." Hana nodded. "We know, we are a peaceful people. We do not have the weapons or skills to defend ourselves against the Kryn." "Then let us teach you," Woojin said. "My Marines can train your people. Basic combat, defensive tactics. You do not need to become warriors, but you should be able to defend your homes. And we can establish a monitoring station in orbit." Kyungsu added, "Early warning for any Kryn incursions." "Earth will want to establish formal relations," Jiwon said. "Trade agreements, mutual defense pacts. You saved one of ours. We will not abandon you now." Taman looked at the humans with wonder. "You are offering us protection? Alliance?" "We are offering friendship," Daewon said. "The kind that lasts. The kind that means something." The formal ceremony took place 2 months later. President Yunji arrived with a delegation from Earth. Representatives from 57 alien species attended. The space around New Haven was filled with ships from across the galaxy. A monument was unveiled in the center of the colony. It was made of crystalline Velthari material and human steel, blended together by artists from both species. It showed 2 figures, one human and one Velthari, reaching toward each other. Their hands were touching. President Yunji spoke first. 15 years ago, a cargo pilot named Daewon was dying in space. The Velthari saved him when they had every reason to pass by. That one act of kindness changed everything. It showed us what true honor means. Today we formalize our friendship with the Velthari people. Today, we declare to the galaxy that these people are under Earth's protection, and we say to all species this is what humanity values: loyalty, honor, friendship. Hana spoke next. "We saved one life because it was the right thing to do. We could not have imagined that one act would bring an armada to our defense. Humanity has shown the galaxy something rare and precious. They have shown us that bonds of friendship can cross any distance, overcome any obstacle. We are honored to call humans our friends. We are proud to stand with them." Then Daewon stepped forward. He was wearing his full admiral's uniform, but around his neck he wore the glowing crystal Yuri had given him 15 years ago. "The Velthari taught me something important," he said. "They taught me that honor is not about calculations or strategy." The engines of Battle Group Titan screamed as they pushed past their safety limits. In the engine rooms of 30 ships, human engineers watched temperature gauges climb into the red zones. They did not slow down. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Daewon watched the countdown timer. 46 hours to reach New Haven. The Velthari had 48 hours before the Kryn finished them. It would be close. Too close. Jiwan worked at her station, coordinating the fleet's movements. Every few minutes, she called out status reports. Jump point 3 reached. All ships accounted for. Next jump in 6 minutes. Minho had chained together a series of dangerous shortcuts through unstable space. Each micro-jump shaved minutes off their journey, but the risk was enormous. One miscalculation could scatter the fleet across a dozen star systems. Word spread through the fleet about why they were racing through space. Crew members talked in the mess halls and barracks. They shared the story of Admiral Daewon's rescue 15 years ago. The tale grew with each retelling. The Velthari became heroes who had risked everything to save one human life. In the fighter bays, pilots checked their weapons 3 times. In the Marine quarters, soldiers ran combat drills. Everyone wanted to be ready. Everyone wanted to help repay the debt. But the news had also reached Earth. Soo-Yun had sent his report to the Council the moment the fleet jumped to warp. The political firestorm began immediately. Council member Yunji, the president of the United Earth Council, called an emergency session. Dozens of representatives gathered in the Great Hall on Earth, their faces projected on screens from across human space. Admiral Daewon has deployed Battlegroup Titan without authorization, Soo-Yun's report stated. He is taking 30,000 personnel into combat with a foreign power. He has ignored all regulations and direct orders to stand down. The council erupted into argument. Some demanded Daewon's immediate arrest. Others wanted to understand why he had done this. The debate raged for hours. A representative from the Military Oversight Committee spoke up. We must send a recall order immediately. This is a clear violation of command authority. But another representative, an older woman named Bora, who had served in the fleet decades ago, stood to speak. I have read Daewon's original report from 15 years ago. The Velthari saved his life when they had every reason to pass him by. They were refugees with nothing, yet they stopped to help. Now they are dying, and they sent one message asking for help. What does it say about us if we abandon them? It says we follow our laws, someone shouted. It says we value order over honor, Bora shot back. President Yunji raised her hand for silence. We will debate this matter thoroughly. But first I want more information about the Velthari and this Kryn Dominion. Someone bring me everything we have. While Earth debated, Battlegroup Titan continued its desperate race across the galaxy. In the medical bay of the Indomitable, doctors prepared for casualties. They knew this mission could turn into a bloodbath. The Kryn Dominion was a powerful enemy. If they had found New Haven, they would have sent a serious force. Nari, a fighter squadron leader, gathered her pilots. She was 26 years old, young for a squadron leader, but her skills were exceptional. She looked at the 23 pilots under her command. Listen up, she said. We are going into a fight that might get us all killed. The people we are saving are aliens most of you have never heard of, but they saved one of ours when it cost them everything. That makes them family. You understand? The pilots nodded. They understood. In the Marine barracks, Commander Woojin inspected his troops. He was a veteran of 15 years with scars from a dozen battles. His Marines trusted him completely. Marines, he said in his rough voice, we are about to hit a Kryn fleet. They are tough, they are mean, and they do not take prisoners. But we are meaner, and we have something they do not have. We have a reason to fight. Those bugs down on New Haven saved one of ours. Today we return the favor. The Marines slammed their fists against their chest armor in approval. Captain Kyung-soo walked the corridors of his carrier Horizon's Edge. He checked every station, talked to every department head. His ship would be at the front of the attack. He wanted everything perfect. A young ensign stopped him. Captain, is it true? Did the Admiral really throw away his career for these aliens? Kyung-soo thought about his answer carefully. The Admiral did what honor demanded. He made a promise 15 years ago and he is keeping it. That is what makes him a good commander. That is what makes us proud to follow him. The ensign saluted with new respect in his eyes. 30 hours into the journey, the first engine failed. The cruiser Daejeon's shield dropped out of warp with a dying power core. Daewon had to make a choice, stop to help or continue. Leave us, the captain of the Daejeon's shield sent over the comm. We will make repairs and catch up. Do not slow down for us. Day One hated the decision, but the captain was right. Understood. Good luck, Captain. The fleet continued, now one ship smaller. At 35 hours, 2 more ships fell behind with engine damage. At 40 hours, the Soul's Pride sent a warning that her engines were failing. Captain Insu reported that they could reach New Haven, but the ship would need to be towed home. Worry about that later, Daewon told him. Just get us there. In his ready room, Daewon reviewed intelligence reports that Minho had gathered on the Kryn Dominion. The news was not good. The Kryn were conquerors who had destroyed dozens of civilizations. They enslaved some species and exterminated others. They were ruthless. The typical Kryn battle fleet consisted of 3 battle cruisers and 20 to 30 support ships. Each battle cruiser was massive, carrying enough firepower to level a planet. Battlegroup Titan would be outnumbered and outgunned. Jiwon entered the ready room. Sir, the crew is asking questions. They want to know our chances. What do you tell them? I tell them we will win, Jiwon said. She paused. But sir, the tactical report... I know. Daewon looked at the star map. We are probably going to lose ships. We are definitely going to lose people. But we have to try. I know, sir. The crew knows too. They are with you. At 44 hours, the fleet entered the final jump. 1 more warp transition and they would arrive at New Haven. The timing was perfect. They would arrive with 2 hours to spare. Then the sensors detected something, a massive energy signature at their destination. The Kryn were already attacking. They started early, Minho said grimly. The Velthari might not have 2 hours left. Daewon made his decision in an instant. All ships emergency jump. Direct to New Haven, maximum power. We are arriving hot, Jiwon's eyes widened. Sir, an emergency jump will drop us right into the middle of the battle. We will have no time to form up, no time to prepare. The Velthari do not have time. Jump now. The fleet made the final jump. Space twisted and stretched. The ships of Battlegroup Titan emerged from warp directly into the New Haven system. And there it was. Hell. 3 Kryn battlecruisers surrounded the moon, massive and dark, their hulls covered in weapon ports that glowed with charging energy. 24 smaller attack ships swarmed around them. Below, on New Haven, orbital bombardment had torn huge craters in the surface. The Velthari shields were flickering, nearly dead. Daewon could see the Velthari colony through the magnified view. Crystalline buildings were shattered. Fires burned. The aliens were fighting with mining equipment and improvised weapons, but they were losing. On the surface, Hana stood in the command center. She was older now, her crystalline plates marked with age and stress. Around her, the last defenders of New Haven prepared for the end. Then Taemin, who had been manning the failing sensor station, made a sound between a gasp and a cry. Captain, ships! Human ships! Hana looked at the sensor display. She could not believe what she was seeing. 30 human warships dropping out of warp, their weapons already powering up, and leading them was a single massive carrier broadcasting an identification code she remembered from 15 years ago. Admiral Daewon's flagship. He came, Hana whispered. Her body glowed with colors that meant joy and disbelief and desperate hope all mixed together. He actually came. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Daewon stood and looked at the tactical display. 3 Kryn battlecruisers. Each one was bigger than his flagship. His fleet was outnumbered by tonnage and firepower. The odds of winning were maybe 40%. Maybe less. Jiwon ran the calculations. Sir, even with our full fleet, this is going to be close. We might not be able to, then we make sure we do. Daewon opened a channel to all ships. His voice was calm and certain. All ships, this is Admiral Daewon. 15 years ago, the people on that moon saved my life when they had no reason to. They were refugees with nothing. But they stopped to help because it was right. Today we return that favor. Today we show the galaxy what humanity does for its friends. He paused, letting his words sink in. The Kryn think they can destroy whoever they want. They think there are no consequences. They are wrong. Today they learn that there are some people in this galaxy you do not touch. Today they learn about humans. He looked at Jiwon. Send to all ships. Engage. Battlegroup Titan accelerated to attack speed. Every ship, every weapon, every person ready for the fight of their lives. For the Velthari, Nari screamed as she led her fighters into the battle. The Kryn commander stood on the bridge of his flagship, Dark Talon. He was a massive creature, nearly 3 meters tall, with thick armor plates and 4 arms ending in claws. His species had conquered 17 different civilizations. The Velthari were just another weak species to be crushed. Then his sensors officer made a confused sound. Commander, multiple ships dropping from warp. Unknown design. They are human? The Kryn commander turned to look at the tactical display. 30 human warships were entering the system, weapons charging. He could not understand it. Why would humans come here? The Velthari were nothing. They had no resources worth fighting for, no strategic value. Humans, the commander said slowly. For these crystal bugs? It makes no sense. They are forming attack patterns, the sensors officer reported. They are engaging us. The Kryn commander felt something he rarely experienced. Confusion. But it did not matter. His 3 battle cruisers were the finest ships in the Kryn fleet. Some humans would die today, but the result would be the same. All ships engage the humans, teach them the cost of interfering. Nari led her fighter squadron straight into the teeth of the Kryn defenses. Her fighter was small and fast, designed for quick strikes. Behind her, 23 more fighters followed in tight formation. The space between the fleets lit up with weapons fire. Kryn point defense systems tracked the incoming fighters and opened fire. Nari jinked left then right, dodging streams of plasma that would vaporize her ship in an instant. Red 3 is hit, someone called over the comm. Nari saw the explosion in her peripheral vision, one of her pilots gone in a flash of light. She gritted her teeth. Stay tight! Follow my lead! She targeted the shield generator on the nearest Kryn cruiser. It was a small target, heavily defended, but if they could take it down, the cruiser would be vulnerable. All fighters, focus fire on my mark. 3, 2, 1 now. 22 fighters fired at once. Their missiles converged on the shield generator in a cascade of explosions. The Kryn shields flickered and died. Target down, Nari shouted. Move to the next one. But the Kryn were already responding. A wave of their own fighters launched from the cruisers, black angular ships that moved with deadly speed. The dogfight began. On the Indomitable, Daiwan watched the battle unfold on the tactical display. The human fleet was doing well, but they were taking damage. The Busan Runner, a frigate, was limping out of formation with its engines damaged. The cruiser Gwangju's fire had lost its forward shields. Sir, the lead Kryn cruiser is targeting us, Jiwan reported. Evasive maneuvers. Return fire. The Indomitable shuddered as Kryn plasma bolts hammered into its shields. Daewon gripped his chair as the deck tilted. Return fire from the carrier's main cannons lanced out, striking the Kryn cruiser's hull. Shields at 60%, Jiwan called out. We can take a few more hits, but not many. Wu Jin and his Marines were ready. Their assault shuttles launched from the horizon's edge, small armored transports that accelerated toward the Kryn cruiser with the damaged shields. Kryn point defense fire tore through 2 of the shuttles. Wu Jin watched his people die and forced himself to focus. 8 shuttles remained. 8 shuttles carrying 200 Marines. All units brace for impact. The shuttles crashed into the Kryn cruiser's hull. Magnetic clamps locked them in place. Cutting torches burned through the armor. The Marines poured into the enemy ship. The interior of the Kryn cruiser was dark and hot. The Kryn liked high temperatures. Wu Jin and his Marines moved through the corridors in combat armor, their weapons ready. They encountered the first Kryn soldiers minutes later. The aliens were huge and heavily armed, but the human Marines had trained for close combat. Firefights erupted in the narrow corridors. The sound was deafening. Push forward, Wu Jin ordered. We need to reach their reactor control. A Kryn soldier charged at Wu Jin, all 4 arms swinging massive blades. Wu Jin rolled under the attack and put 3 shots into the alien's chest. The Kryn fell, but 2 more took its place. The fighting was brutal. The Marines lost ground, then gained it back. Every meter was paid for in blood. On New Haven, Hana watched the battle through the colony's sensors. Human ships were fighting and dying for them. She could see fighters exploding, ships taking damage. People were sacrificing themselves for the Velthari. Taemin worked frantically at his console. Captain, we still have some power in our shield generators. If I route it through the communications array, I can send it to the human fleet. It is not much, but do it, Hana ordered. The last reserves of New Haven's power flowed up to the human ships. It was barely enough to notice, but Taemin sent it anyway. The Velthari had nothing else to give. On the Indomitable, a technician noticed the power surge. Sir, we are receiving a power transfer from the surface. The Velthari are sending us their shield energy. Daewon opened a channel to the colony. New Haven, this is Admiral Daywan. Save your power for your shields. We have this. Hana's voice came through, clicking and musical even in fear. Admiral, you came across the galaxy to save us. Let us help however we can. Daywan felt his throat tighten. Thank you, Captain Hana, but keep your shields up. We did not come this far to lose you now. The battle raged for 2 hours. Ships from both sides were damaged or destroyed. The space around New Haven was filled with debris and fire. Then Wu Jin and his Marines reached the reactor control room of the Kryn cruiser. They fought through the last line of defenders and planted explosive charges on the core containment system. All Marines, evacuate now, Wu Jin ordered. We have 3 minutes. The Marines ran back through the corridors, fighting their way to the shuttles. Some did not make it. Wu Jin was the last one off the ship, dragging a wounded Marine behind him. The shuttles pulled away just as the charges detonated. The Kryn cruiser's reactor went critical. The explosion tore the massive ship apart from the inside. The fireball was visible from the surface of New Haven. The remaining 2 Kryn cruisers hesitated. They had just lost a third of their firepower. The human fleet was smaller, but they fought with a fury the Kryn had never encountered before. Kyung-Soo saw the opening. All ships concentrate fire on the second cruiser. Hit them now while they are off balance. The human fleet focused their weapons. Dozens of missiles and energy beams struck the second Kryn cruiser at once. Its shields collapsed. Hull breaches erupted across its surface. The Kryn commander on the Dark Talon realized he was losing. These humans were not normal prey species. They did not run. They did not surrender. They fought like demons, and he still did not understand why. Why would humans die for the Velthari? All ships withdraw, the Kryn commander ordered. Fall back to the jump point. The second Kryn cruiser was dying, venting atmosphere and spinning out of control. The Dark Talon and the remaining Kryn ships turned and accelerated away from the battle. Daywan wanted to pursue. Every instinct told him to chase them down and finish them. But his fleet was badly damaged. They had won, but barely. Let them go, he ordered. Focus on rescue operations. I want search teams out looking for survivors, ours and theirs. The Kryn fleet jumped to warp and vanished. The Battle of New Haven was over. On the bridge of the Indomitable, the crew erupted in cheers. They had done it. Against terrible odds, they had won. Ji-won looked at her damage reports and her smile faded. Sir, casualties are coming in. The Busan runner is a total loss. The Gwangju's fire is barely functional. We lost 8 fighters, 3 shuttles, and she paused. 4,000 dead, 6,000 wounded. Daywan closed his eyes. 4,000 people, 4,000 humans who had followed him across the galaxy and would never go home. What about New Haven? He asked quietly. Minho checked the sensors. The colony took heavy damage, but the shields held. The Velthari are alive, sir. Daywan stood. Ji-won, you have the bridge. I need to... He did not finish. He walked to his ready room and closed the door. For the first time since the battle began, he let himself feel the weight of what had happened. 4,000 dead. Careers destroyed. His entire fleet damaged. And for what? To save aliens that most of humanity had never heard of. But then he remembered Hana's words from 15 years ago. We do not leave people to die in the dark. The door chimed. Ji-won entered without waiting for permission. She saw Daywan standing at the window looking out at New Haven. Sir, we are receiving a transmission from the surface. Captain Hana wants to speak with you. Daywan straightened his uniform. Put her through. Hana's face appeared on the screen. Her crystalline body was cracked in places, showing the stress of the battle, but her eyes glowed with emotion. Admiral Daywan, she said, and her voice broke. You came. You destroyed your career, risked your people, lost thousands of your own. All for us. Daywan looked at the alien who had saved him 15 years ago. You saved one human, he said simply. We had to try. Taemin appeared beside Hana. His mandibles were clicking rapidly with emotion. You brought an armada. You fought the Kryn and won. We did what humans do for their friends, Daywan said. You showed me what honor meant, Hana. Today I tried to live up to that lesson. Hana touched the screen as if she could reach through it. Come to the surface, please. Let us see you. Let us thank you properly. Daywan returned to Earth and filed his report. He told the United Earth Council everything about the Velthari. He described their kindness, their desperate situation, and their search for a new home. He included the coordinates of where they were heading and requested that humanity monitor their progress. The report disappeared into the vast bureaucracy of Earth's government. Thousands of reports came in every day from across human space. The Velthari were far away, and humanity had its own problems to deal with. Border disputes, trade negotiations, pirate attacks. One species of refugee aliens did not seem urgent, but Daewon never forgot. He requested a transfer to the Earth Defense Fleet. He worked hard, studied tactics and strategy, and slowly rose through the ranks. Lieutenant became captain. Captain became Commodore. Commodore became Admiral. It took 15 years. Throughout those years, he kept the Velthari coordinates flagged in every system he could access. He wore the glowing crystal Yuri had given him on a chain under his uniform, and he kept Taemin's beacon signal device in a place of honor on every desk at every posting. An intelligence officer named Minho became fascinated with Daewon's report. Minho was the kind of person who noticed details others missed. He tracked deep space sensor data and checked public records. He built a file on the Velthari, updating it whenever he found new information. 3 years after Daewon's rescue, Minho confirmed that the Velthari had found their moon. They called it New Haven. The settlement started small, just a few buildings and landing pads. But over the years it grew. The Velthari were survivors. They built homes, farms, and workshops. They were making a life. Minho brought his findings to Daewon every few months. The two men would look at the updated reports and feel relieved. The Velthari were safe. They were thriving. You ever think about visiting them? Minho asked once. Daewon smiled. Every day, but New Haven is far from the trade routes. It would take weeks to get there, and I cannot justify that kind of journey for personal reasons. Maybe someday, Minho said. Maybe. Daewon occasionally mentioned the Velthari in meetings with other officers. He told the story of his rescue. Most listened politely, but they were focused on human concerns. The galaxy was vast. There were hundreds of alien species. The Velthari were just one more name in a long list. Only a few people truly understood what the Velthari had done. Jiwon, Daewon's second-in-command, had heard the story many times. She saw how her admiral kept that beacon device on his desk, how he checked the Velthari file every month. You really care about them, she said once. They saved my life when they had every reason not to. Daewon replied. They were refugees with almost nothing, and they still stopped to help a stranger. How could I not care? 15 years passed. Daewon was 43 now, an admiral in command of Battle Group Titan. 4 carriers, 16 cruisers, 42 frigates. 30,000 personnel under his command. His flagship was the Indomitable, a massive carrier that could project force across multiple star systems. He was in his ready room, reviewing supply reports, when Minho burst through the door. The intelligence officer's face was white as paper. His hands shook. Admiral, Minho gasped. The beacon. Taemin's beacon just activated. Daewon felt his heart stop. He stared at Minho, not comprehending at first. Then understanding hit him like a physical blow. Show me. Minho pulled up his datapad. The signal was weak, barely readable, transmitted with what must have been the last power reserves of a dying communication array. Daewon read the message 3 times, each word burning into his mind. To Daewon of Earth, the Kryn have found us. New Haven Falls. We have 48 hours. If you remember us, please. We saved one of yours. All we ask is you try. The message was signed by Taemin. Daewon stood there, frozen. 15 years of silence shattered by a desperate cry for help. The Kryn Dominion had found them. The same enemy that had destroyed their homeworld was now attacking New Haven. Jiwon entered the ready room. She took one look at the Admiral's face and knew something terrible had happened. Sir, the Velthari, Daewon said quietly. They are under attack. They are asking for help. Jiwon quickly read the message on Minho's datapad. Her expression grew grim. Sir, I will pull up the navigation data. How long to reach New Haven? Minho was already working on his calculations. He looked up with despair in his eyes. 18 days at maximum fleet speed. Even if we left right now, the words hung in the air. 18 days. The Velthari had 48 hours. We cannot reach them in time, Jiwon said softly. Daewon walked to his desk. He picked up the beacon device he had given Taemin 15 years ago. The small piece of technology that had traveled so far, that had waited so long to be used. There is another problem, Minho said. We are not authorized to deploy the fleet for an unrecognized species. The Velthari are not part of any human alliance. The Council would never approve military action in time. He is right, Sir, Jiwan said. Even if we requested emergency authorization, it would take days to get approval. Maybe weeks. The Council would want debates, votes, committee reviews. Daewon knew they were right. The Earth Council was slow and careful. They had to be, managing the interests of billions of humans across hundreds of worlds. Unauthorized military deployment was a serious crime. He could face court-martial. His entire career could end. He looked at the beacon device in his hand. He remembered Hana's words. We do not leave people to die in the dark. Not even strangers. Not even when it costs us. Contact all ship captains, Daewon said suddenly. Emergency meeting in the briefing room. 1 hour, sir? Jiwan asked. 1 hour. Everyone. The hour passed too slowly. Daewon stood in his ready room, staring at the star map on his wall. New Haven was marked with a small flag. So far away. So impossible to reach, but he had promised. 15 years ago, he had pressed that beacon into Taemin's hands and said, If you call, I will answer. He touched the crystal under his uniform. Yuri's crystal, still glowing softly after all these years. Humans remember their debts, he had told them. It was time to prove those words meant something. Daewon walked into the briefing room. 30 senior officers were gathered, every ship captain in Battle Group Titan. They looked worried. Emergency meetings were never good news. Soo-Yun, the Earth Council representative assigned to the fleet, stood in the corner. His presence made this more complicated. Daewon connected his datapad to the main display. Taemin's message appeared on the screen. 15 years ago, Daewon began. I was a cargo pilot drifting in dead space with 4 hours of oxygen left. A fleet of refugees found me. They were the last survivors of their species, fleeing from an enemy that had destroyed their world. They had almost nothing. Every resource was precious. Stopping to save me put their entire convoy at risk. He paused. Every eye in the room was locked on him. They saved me anyway. The captain told me that if they became too afraid to help others, their enemy had already won. She said life was precious, all life. Even a stranger's life. He pointed to the message on the screen. That was the Velthari. This is them 15 years later. The same enemy that destroyed their homeworld has found their new colony. They have 48 hours before they are wiped out. The room was silent. New Haven is 18 days away at maximum speed, Daewon continued. We cannot reach them in time, and we are not authorized to deploy our forces without council approval. Soo-Hyun stepped forward. Admiral, I understand you have personal feelings about this situation, but I am not finished. Daewon's voice was hard. Soo-Hyun stepped back. Daewon looked at his officers. I cannot order you to go. By every regulation, deploying this fleet without authorization is grounds for court-martial. For all of us, we would be risking our careers, possibly our freedom. He picked up the beacon device from his pocket and placed it on the table. But 15 years ago, I gave this to a young Velthari engineer named Taemin. I told him humans remember their debts. I promised that if he called, I would answer. So I am going. I am taking my flagship and I am going to New Haven. I am asking for volunteers. Anyone who comes does so knowing the consequences. The room was completely silent for 5 seconds. Then Kyung-soo, captain of the carrier Horizon's Edge, stood up. The Horizon's Edge volunteers, sir. Another captain rose. The Soul's Pride volunteers. One by one, every single captain in the room stood. All of them. Daewon felt his throat tighten. You understand what you are risking? Kyung-soo spoke for all of them. We tell stories about honor and duty, sir. What good are those words if we abandon people who showed us what they mean? Soo-Hyun's voice was desperate. This is insane. You will all face court-martial. Your careers will be over. Daewon looked at the council representative. Maybe, but the Velthari did not calculate the cost when they saved me. They just did what was right. He turned to his officers. Minho, can we get there faster? Minho was already working. If we push the engines past safety limits and chain micro-jumps through every shortcut I can find, we can make it in 46 hours. It will burn out half our drive cores, but we will arrive with an hour to spare. Do it, Daewon ordered. All ships prepare for immediate departure. Maximum burn. We are going to New Haven. As the officers hurried to their ships, Soo-Hyun grabbed Daewon's arm. Admiral, this is career suicide. For all of you. Daewon's cargo ship was dying. Red emergency lights flashed across the small cockpit as alarms screamed their warnings. The engine had failed 20 minutes ago. right after he passed through the unstable wormhole. Now he was drifting in empty space, far from any human settlement or trade route. He checked his oxygen levels. 4 hours left, maybe 5 if he stayed calm. His distress beacon was broadcasting, but he knew the truth. No one came out this far. This sector had been abandoned for years. The chance of rescue was almost zero. Daewon was 28 years old. He had been hauling medical supplies to the outer colonies for 3 years. It was boring work, but honest. He never expected it would end like this, alone in the dark between stars. He recorded a final message for his family on Earth. His hands shook as he spoke into the recorder. He told his mother he loved her. He told his younger brother to finish school. He tried to sound brave, but his voice broke at the end. The hours crawled past. Daewon watched his oxygen counter drop. 3 hours. 2 hours. He was getting sleepy now. That was the carbon dioxide building up. Soon he would just close his eyes and never wake up. Then his scanner beeped. Something was approaching. Multiple ships. Daewon's heart jumped. He pulled himself to the scanner display. 12 vessels moving together like a convoy. But they were not human ships. The designs were completely alien, covered in strange angular plates that seemed to shimmer. He felt fear mixed with hope. Aliens could mean rescue. They could also mean death or worse. Humanity had met other species in the galaxy. Most were peaceful. Some were not. The alien ships slowed as they approached. Daewon's radio crackled. A voice spoke in broken English, the words clicking and humming strangely. "Human vessel, we detect you. You need help?" Daewon grabbed his radio with shaking hands. Yes, I need help. My engine is dead and I'm running out of air." There was a pause. He heard strange sounds in the background, like multiple voices talking at once. Then the voice returned. "We come for you. Wait." One of the alien ships broke formation and moved closer. It was 3 times the size of his cargo vessel. A docking tube extended and attached to his airlock with a heavy clunk. Daewon pulled himself to the airlock. His hands hesitated on the door controls. This could be a trap. These aliens could be slavers or worse. But he was dead anyway if he stayed here. He opened the door. The creature on the other side made him gasp. It stood on 4 legs with a body covered in crystalline plates that glowed with soft blue light. Its head had multiple eyes arranged in a circle, and its mouth was made of mandibles that clicked together. 2 upper limbs ended in delicate finger-like appendages. The creature made a humming sound. "I am Yuri, medic. You are hurt?" Daewon realized he was staring. "No, I'm okay. Just running out of air." "Come. We have air for you." Yuri gestured with one of its upper limbs. Daewon pulled himself through the docking tube. The interior of the alien ship was warm and humid. The air smelled strange, like flowers and metal mixed together. Other aliens moved through the corridors, all with the same crystalline bodies that glowed in different colors. Yuri led him to a medical bay. The room was filled with equipment he did not recognize. Yuri gently pushed him toward a bed. "Rest, I check you for damage." As Yuri examined him with strange scanning devices, another alien entered. This one was larger, with deeper blue coloring and what looked like age marks on its crystalline plates. "I am Hana," the alien said. Its English was better than Yuri's. "I captain this ship. You are Daewon, yes? We found your identification in your beacon signal." "Yes," Daewon said. "Thank you for saving me. I thought I was going to die out there." Hana's mandibles clicked in a pattern that might have been a smile. "We could not leave you. Life is precious. All life." Over the next few days, Daewon learned about his rescuers. They called themselves the Velthari. These 12 ships carried the last 50,000 members of their entire species. They were refugees, fleeing from a powerful enemy called the Kryn Dominion that had conquered their homeworld. A young Velthari named Taemin visited him often. Taemin was an engineer, and he was endlessly curious about humans and Earth. He asked hundreds of questions. What did Earth look like? How many humans were there? What did they eat? Did they sing? Daewon answered as best he could. In return, Taemin told him about the Velthari homeworld, a planet with crystal forests and singing winds. He told him about the day the Kryn came, with their massive warships and their demand for surrender. The Velthari had no army, no weapons. They were peaceful traders and artists. They could only run. "We search for new home now," Taemin explained, his body glowing soft green with sadness. "We hear of empty moon in the outer reach. Maybe we can live there. Maybe we can be safe. Daewon felt his chest tighten. These people had lost everything. Their world, their history, everything except what they carried on these ships. And yet they had stopped to save him, a complete stranger from a species they barely knew. "Why did you save me?" he asked Hana one day. The captain was silent for a long moment. Her body glowed with shifting colors. "My council said we should not stop. We have little fuel, little food. Every delay risks our people. But I told them this. If we become so afraid that we leave others to die, then the Kryn have already won. They have taken more than our world. They have taken who we are." She looked at him with her circle of eyes. "We are Velthari. We do not leave people to die in the dark, not even strangers. Not even when it costs us." 3 weeks after his rescue, the Velthari fleet reached a neutral trading station. It was time for Daewon to leave. He could get passage back to human space from here. He stood in the docking bay, surrounded by Velthari who had become friends. Yuri gave him a small crystal that glowed with warm light. "For remembering us," the medic said. Taemin approached last. His body glowed with blue sadness. "I will miss our talks, Daewon of Earth." Daewon pulled something from his pocket. It was his personal emergency beacon transponder, a small device that could send a signal across many light years. Every spacer carried one. "Take this," Daewon said, pressing it into Taemin's delicate hands. "If you ever need help, any help at all, you activate this. It will reach me wherever I am in the galaxy. Humans remember their debts, Taemin. If you call, I will answer." Taemin's mandibles clicked with emotion. "I hope you never receive such a signal, my friend. I hope we live peaceful lives and never need to ask for help." "So do I," Daewon said. "But take it anyway." Hana walked him to the airlock. "Live well, Daewon of Earth. May your stars be kind." "May yours be kinder," Daewon replied. He stepped through the airlock and watched the Velthari ship pull away, heading deeper into unknown space in search of a new home. He touched the glowing crystal in his pocket and made himself a promise. If they ever called, he would answer. No matter what.